Yeah, so him being arrested isn't really like the shocker. It's him coming out and his, I guess, reaction to it, right? Because everybody's saying, King, you grew up privileged, bro. Why are you going down this path? Now he's talking about F the police, F12. So, you know, it just, he
trying to coddle him for. Let the man walk off, have some time to himself, sit down, soak it up, and come up with what he need to do.
T.I.'s son, King Harris has been arrested after not appearing in court and some other things connected to his act.
We have rarely seen a celebrity scandal spiral this fast and this vicious, not even in the Harris family's long record of messy, headline-snatching drama. Right now, the world is glued to their phones, waiting for any update on King Harris, who's fighting for his life in intensive care after what insiders are calling a savage, orchestrated prison attack. The details coming out of those Georgia prison walls sound less like reality and more like a Hollywood gangster flick, except this time, the blood is real. According to reports, King was jumped inside his block, blindsided, and left hanging on the edge of consciousness. Guards scrambled to drag him away as chaos exploded around them, forcing an immediate prison lockdown. Sources say King was rushed under armed guard to the infirmary, his face swollen and disfigured, his body barely responsive. Staff reportedly had to battle to restore control after a full-blown riot broke out, leaving multiple inmates injured. And anyone thinking this was some random brawl or rookie initiation, think again. The whispers inside say it wasn't random at all. This was a calculated ambush, a message sent loud and clear. Some say it was payback for King's non-stop flaunting of wealth and privilege, while others believe it was a chilling reminder that in prison, fame means nothing and weakness makes you pray.
So the dynamics here are interesting, but I can't judge how the parenting is gone, because everything that we've seen has been stuff that many of us would have said or similar if we saw our children do this. But I will say this, a lot of what's happening is because it's in the public. Like most children don't have to do this in the public.
As the shocking news spread, the internet went into meltdown mode. X, Instagram, and TikTok lit up with endless takes. Some fans poured out prayers and sympathy, while others mocked him, posting ruthless comments like, "King finally met the real world and couldn't handle it." The Harris family, meanwhile, has been thrown into total panic, scrambling to piece together answers as rumors swirl that this might not be the last time King is targeted. Social feeds are still on fire, every minute bringing new commentary, reckless speculation, and wild conspiracy theories. The first wave of rumors pointed to long-simmering beef with other inmates. One insider close to the Harris circle whispered that King had been marked for humiliation weeks ago, set up not by chance, but by design. Another source connected to prison staff claimed King had already made himself a pariah, hated for both his family's fame and his own loud attempts to stand on business like he ran the yard. Anonymous inmates have come forward saying they warned him to tone it down, claiming he was too flashy, too proud, and way too soft for the prison world. This time, those threats weren't empty, they turned into brutal reality. The Harris family's reaction? Emergency mode, full throttle. T.I. reportedly hasn't slept since the attack. He's been burning phone lines, reaching out to attorneys, politicians, and anyone with even a shred of influence over the Georgia Department of Corrections. One Atlanta insider claimed Tip is already making desperate offers, checks, promises, even confidential NDAs, if that's what it takes to pull King out alive before the next attack hits.
Steve Sadar reached out to me looking to make a deal on behalf of T.I. and Tiny. And I told Steve Sadar that my clients want justice. So if the deal involves Tiny and T.I. turning themselves in and admitting to the crime that they've committed, then fine, we got a deal. But if it does not, then I would prefer to have the investigators do their work and to bring criminal charges against Tiny and T.I.
It's almost unreal to imagine the self-proclaimed king of the South being brought to his knees like this, but that's exactly what's happening behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Tiny has reportedly locked herself in her own war room, rallying lawyers, publicists, and media allies. But insiders whisper that behind closed doors, the couple's famous image of unity is starting to crack under the weight of this crisis. Sources say the blowups between T.I. and Tiny have turned explosive, each pointing fingers over how their son landed in this nightmare. Friends close to the family aren't even sure if the couple is fighting to save King or just tearing each other apart. While his life hangs in the balance, the household once sold to the world as unshakable is now cracking under crushing pressure. But here's where it gets even murkier. Whispers are swirling that this attack wasn't about petty disrespect at all. Word on the inside is that there was a botched contraband deal, and King either refused to play ball or, even worse, tried to finesse the wrong crew. In prison, loyalty is currency, and crossing the wrong line can get you marked for destruction. So what really went down? Was this just a heated clash that spun out of control, or was King deliberately set up by inmates who felt betrayed? Sources tied to the investigation claim there's evidence of a setup. They say King was lured to a specific corner of the yard where at least 3 men ambushed him right as the surveillance cameras mysteriously went dark. The Department of Corrections swears there was no glitch, but insiders aren't buying it. As one of Tip's former road managers put it, it's Georgia. Cameras break when they need to break. That's all you need to know. Meanwhile, King's condition remains shaky, and the Harris family tensions are boiling into public view. Fans haven't forgotten the infamous headlock incident at that Falcons game when T.I. grabbed King in a chokehold live on Instagram during yet another heated blow-up about his behavior. "You are embarrassing yourself and your family," Tip barked as security rushed in and Tiny tried to calm the chaos. At the time, many thought that was King's rock bottom, but this new tragedy shows things have only gotten darker. This ambush shows just how far things can sink. King is now stuck in a hospital bed, while the Harris family's dirty laundry is splattered all over the internet like wildfire.
I wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for Family Hustle.
Right.
That does come with some, it's some adversity. It's some adversity to come with that. People get in your business.
Yeah.
But that infamous Falcons game fight looks tame in hindsight, nothing but a dress rehearsal for something far uglier. The stakes have blown past family pride. This is about straight-up survival. Inside those prison walls, King was never safe, but lately, insiders say the atmosphere turned toxic. Multiple sources revealed he was taunted nonstop about his parents' infamous scandals, especially the lingering cloud of those human trafficking allegations that continue to dog T.I., Tiny, and now by extension King himself. It didn't help that King reportedly poured gasoline on the flames himself. Word is, he tried flexing for social media even from behind bars, calling out rivals, hyping himself as Atlanta's next big thing. But the older prisoners weren't buying it. One former inmate bluntly told us, "We don't care who your daddy is. If you don't pay what you owe or you run your mouth, you get handled." That's the rule inside, and King is paying the price now. T.I. is pulling every string left in his playbook. Sources claim he's threatened to go public with explosive complaints about prison conditions, while at the same time, his team is secretly feeding sympathetic stories to friendly media outlets. The strategy is clear. Shift the blame off King and pin it all on a corrupt system, a classic celebrity crisis move. But the haunting question remains, is it too late to save him? Behind all the frantic spin, one thought lingers like smoke. What if this is exactly what happens when you raise a son to believe he's untouchable, only for reality to punch back harder than anyone expected? Add into the chaos are whispers from multiple industry veterans who claim the Harris family's messy legal baggage might have painted a bigger target on King's back. His name has already surfaced in connection to those relentless trafficking allegations, claims that first erupted years ago and have never fully gone away. Accusers have suggested a tangled web of misconduct allegedly tied to the Harris family itself. Sabrina Peterson, the ex-friend who set off the storm, even went on record threatening to drop explosive receipts that would supposedly drag not only T.I. and Tiny, but King himself deeper into legal quicksand. The feds may have kept their distance, but in the court of public opinion, that stain is permanent. And just as the Harris legal team scrambles to bury one scandal, another rumor leaks out, this time about a secret prison deal gone sideways. King's name was allegedly scribbled on a contraband ledger tied to a broken promise, and whispers that he either snitched or failed to pay up. Is it just prison gossip or the ugly truth? Insiders claim that in that world, the price for crossing the wrong crew is always collected in blood. And when you pile on King's privileged upbringing, his reality TV past, and the Harris family's endless trail of controversy, it's no surprise he became a lightning rod for grudges inside those walls. Meanwhile, T.I. and Tiny's relationship is starting to look like a powder keg with a lit fuse. Behind closed doors, sources say they're clashing hard over how to deal with King's downward spiral. Tiny is pushing for a softer, protective approach, pointing the blame at the system and outside predators. But T.I., he's reportedly growing more combative by the day, convinced that King needs discipline, not excuses. In his mind, only force and high-powered connections can save their son. One insider close to the couple even called this the worst crisis they've ever faced together. Worse than the reality TV cancellation, worse than the messy LA lawsuits, and yes, even worse than that viral Falcons game chokehold moment. This isn't just another tabloid headline. This is their family legacy on the line. The emotional toll is brutal, with both parents lashing out while the rest of the Harris clan gets caught in the blast zone. Zooming out, the stakes couldn't be more dangerous. King, once the pampered wild card of the Harris dynasty, now faces a merciless new reality. With every headline and every desperate call from his father, the question only grows louder. Will this end with redemption, or are we witnessing the total collapse of one of hip-hop's most famous families? And digging deeper, all signs point to something even darker. The most shocking details of this ambush and what really happens to a famous name inside the concrete jungle still haven't been revealed. We're watching in slow motion as the harsh truth of incarceration shreds the illusion of celebrity privilege. Because inside those walls, money, connections, even a powerful last name, none of it buys safety. Prison runs on a brutal code, and King Harris, just like countless others before him, is learning the rules the hard way. Those rules are written in blood, enforced without mercy, and everyone inside knows them. Respect isn't bought with autographs or family fame. It's earned through loyalty and silence. In a place where yesterday's chart position means nothing, survival is the only headline that matters. High-profile inmates aren't shielded, they're more exposed, and that reality is crushing King harder than anyone expected. Inside, survival depends on alliances, discipline, and respect, and the very thing that made him famous may now be the weapon used against him. Was King's high-profile status his ultimate downfall? That's the chilling question haunting everyone as we piece together the aftermath of an ambush that's left the Harris dynasty rattled and staring at threats they never saw coming. Those closest to the chaos insist this was never just about King as a person, it was about what he represented. The second he stepped through those prison gates, he carried the Harris name, the reality TV baggage, the tabloid scandals, and his reputation as T.I.'s wildest son. To men already serving decades, that's a lightning rod for resentment, jealousy, and score settling. Multiple correctional officers have admitted off the record that inmates like King often turn into bargaining chips in the power struggles between rival crews. He became a pawn in somebody else's game. One source who previously served time in Georgia's system put it bluntly, they see an outsider with headlines and they want to send a message to him, to the other inmates, and to the whole world watching. And when you add in the whispers of a botched contraband deal and the nonstop swirl of his family's scandals, King Harris looks less like an inmate and more like a target painted for destruction. From the moment King walked in, he was swimming with sharks. And this wasn't just about fists flying. Inside those walls, psychological warfare cuts just as deep. Every word, every glare, every whispered rumor can be the spark that sets off another ambush. Insiders say King's privileged upbringing painted a target on his back long before he ever stepped foot in a cell. Some inmates despised him for what they saw as an easy life. Private schools, flashy music videos, access to top lawyers that most of them could never dream of. Others were flat out insulted by his attempts to talk tough, play gangster, or stand on business, when deep down everybody knew King had spent more time in reality TV studios than on actual street corners. Behind the scenes, lawyers are scrambling to control the narrative while the family is deeply divided on their next move. Some relatives urge caution, terrified that too much noise could put King in even more danger. Others argue that silence equals surrender, warning that the Harris brand cannot afford to look weak in the middle of such a public crisis. Meanwhile, the rest of the Harris children are walking a minefield, pulled into speculation about everything from messy paternity rumors to old family disputes being dragged back into the spotlight. The line between private heartbreak and public scandal grows thinner by the hour. Every new leak, whether whispered by a guard or pushed out by a so-called friend of the family, only throws gasoline on the fire. And when you connect the dots, the bigger picture is terrifying. King's near-fatal ordeal exposes one cold truth. The justice system doesn't bend for celebrity, it chews you up and spits you out. Famous or not, if you can't adapt to its brutal politics, no amount of family money, media spin, or hip-hop royalty will save you. Inside those walls, the only currency that matters is raw power What began as a scuffle over respect has spiraled into a battle for survival, not just for King Harris, but for the entire Harris legacy. And while T.I. burns up phone lines, desperate to outmaneuver a system that has already claimed so many lives, the ripple effects from this ambush may just be beginning. King is clinging to life, and with every breaking headline, the sense grows stronger. This wasn't just one attack, this was the opening chapter of something far darker. So the question now is chilling. Is King Harris simply a casualty of his family's fame, or is there something deeper, more explosive, fueling this chaos? Could this prison assault unlock secrets and rivalries so volatile that no amount of damage control will ever contain them? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, because when it comes to the Harris family, the drama is never far away. Stay sharp, stay curious, and until next time, keep your eyes wide open. You never know whose story is about to take its next wild turn.